Okay, should be just about good to go here. Sure. I'll have an introduction slide. Morning. Could you buy a new house or a new car with just the money you have in the bank? How about pay for your tuition without using any kind of financial aid? Chances are you're going to need to borrow money at some point in your life. And to do that, you're going to need credit. Credit's kind of a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I've been working on my credit for the last couple of years. And today I'm going to talk to you about a little bit of the history of credit, kind of basically the legislative, cultural, and technological changes that happened since the late 1800s to the kind of modern times of the United States, and how that kind of built the system we know today. In the late 1800s, the attitude of most people was that you should kind of live within your means, save money, be thrifty, and delay gratification to reach your goals. Unfortunately, people hit rough times, and that means you need to go borrow money from your friends or family, but oftentimes that wasn't very easy to do. Most people didn't have it. So there were these laws in place called usury laws that sort of set limits on the interest rates and how much profit lenders could make. And because of this, it de-incentivized lenders to help the lower middle class. And so people were often forced to turn to pawn shops and people like loan sharks who would take advantage of the lower and middle class people. As Lyndall Carter states in his book, Finance and the American Dream, basically people who had money had access to these loans where the rest of the population did not. So as the turn of the century came about and time went on, people began to be more comfortable with this idea of lending money. They were more open to it. It was less taboo. And as well, usury laws began to change. There were advocate groups that lobbied to change these usury laws, and it opened the door for lenders to make more money and thus have the incentive to help the lower middle class. And that kind of enabled people to start with this rudimentary idea of credit and get access to it. Oftentimes people would go to department stores, and that's where you would find kind of the rudimentary access to credit. At these department stores you would have what's known as the credit man, who had kind of a negative connotation in society, because if you went to the credit manager and they turned you down, you'd be kind of like getting spat in the face, saying, we don't trust you, we don't think you're going to pay this money back. And so they had kind of a negative connotation in society. But this is generally how people went about getting rudimentary credit, was through realtors who would do installment loans for department stores. And these credit managers would begin to establish a network between these various department stores and credit reporters to form kind of what we know today as credit agencies and credit bureaus. So these credit bureaus would begin to culminate into the bigger credit bureaus that we know, such as Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, and they would use the scoring system known as the FICO scoring system, and this kind of coincides with the modern computer being part of the system of credit reporting and building algorithms to determine how likely you are to pay back borrowed money. So that kind of drove the centralization of credit as well, credit reporting. And so here's a picture of FICO workers working on the really old mainframe to kind of compute how likely you are to pay your money back. Around the same time, the Fair and Credit Reporting Act was passed, which kind of gave the people, the consumer rights to challenge aspects of their credit reporting. Mark Verletti describes, he's a financial advisor, he writes out, this centralization of credit helped bring down the cost for the consumer as well as the risk for the lender, which is kind of an overall positive for everyone. In conclusion, credit's a powerful tool. I hope you seek ways to better your credit and use it. It's a double-edged sword. It's kind of used as a form of identity in modern life. Yeah, I hope you learned a little bit about credit from loan sharks to pawn stores to kind of the modern computerized identity we know today. And yeah, I just hope that you use it to your advantage and go get that new house or new car.